Hello there, I'm Atilla Yeşilada, the lovely host of the Real Turkey channel and an English language YouTube broadcast coming directly to you from Istanbul. Today we're going to talk about Halkbank, which means Nations Bank. It's a Turkish commercial bank owned by the Turkish state. It is a bizarre case. I will do my best to explain why I'm talking about Halkbank, because Halkbank is currently on trial in a Manhattan federal court on 6 charges, 2 of which I understand. As you may guess, I am not legally trained. While I have some practical training because of the nights I spend in American prisons for charges I shall not mention because YouTube forbids them. But these 2 charges are violating sanctions on Iran and money laundering, of course. This case goes back for at least 5 years. It started with a rogue gold trader called Reza Zarrab, who fled to the United States to escape assassination attempts by Iran. He was arrested for smuggling gold to Iran. Later, he turned state's evidence. Then a high-level Halkbank executive called Mr. Hakan Atilla, no relationship to Atilla Yeşilada, for some reason went to the United States. He was arrested, tried, found guilty of a minor charge, served 32 months in American prison, returned to Turkey, and for his good services to Turkey, he was put in charge of the Istanbul Stock Exchange. And then suddenly, in all of these cases, Halkbank was mentioned as a conduit, as an accessory to the crime of Reza Zarrab or Mr. Hakan Atilla, helping or smuggling gold to Iran, which Iran used in terrorist activities or buying weapons. These are the charges as stated in the American court. I'm not taking sides. But Halkbank was never directly sued. This time, some federal prosecutor decided that Halkbank is the culprit, the originator of these alleged crimes or wrongdoings, and initiate the lawsuit. It is bizarre because Halkbank refused to acknowledge American jurisdiction over its affairs, even though it transacts in dollars in huge sums, and then didn't send a defense team, but send a lawyer saying, can we just make a special appearance to explain why we don't recognize your jurisdiction? Judge Berman said, you must be kidding me. Get the hell out of here. This is one thing what makes the case so macabre. The American judicial system, both the prosecutor and the judge, to the best of my knowledge, what I read in the American press, thinks Halkbank is fooling the American judicial system, which is a heavy crime. It can be found in contempt of the court and could be levied fines even without a final ruling. Secondly, Mr. Erdogan, I think he met Mr. Trump for 5 times over the last 4 years. In each meeting, he brought up Halkbank. He wanted the case to vanish. And Mr. Trump told him every time there's nothing he can do because it's in the hands of the judiciary, and American presidents usually don't interfere in ongoing judicial processes. At the end, an offer was made from the White House to Turkey to settle out of the court for a couple of $100 million, where Halkbank would admit to a reduced charge, perhaps unwittingly being a party to these transactions, and the case will be closed and Halkbank would be free to transact in American dollars or in the United States. Turkey refused, claiming that doing so would be an admission of guilt, whereas Halkbank is pristine. So now Halkbank is being tried. Again, I'm no judge, jury, or legally trained, but it sounds to me that you are being tried in a felony and you're not sending a defense team. So the odds of you being guilty, of you being found guilty increases. The fines I personally don't know anything about these issues, but according to a Bloomberg report, can be in excess of those being levied on a French bank, which I shall not mention here, or in $10 billion or in excess of it. Now, I hope Halkbank is not found guilty, but $10 billion is like 5 or 6 times the paid-in capital of Halkbank. Moreover, in its previous testimony, Reza Zarrab said Halkbank was the only one. I can't mention other names because that would be obviously impugning using wrongly the names of other banks. But other state and private banks wanted to jump in on this deal. So a guilty verdict for Halkbank could open cases for other Turkish banks. According to Turkish press reports, Mr. Reza Zarrab is under witness protection and he's still spilling the beans. What he's saying, I have no idea. There is another very interesting technical nuance here. Halkbank, being a state bank, is owned by the Republic of Turkey and is governed on behalf of the Republic of Turkey by Turkey's president, prime minister, economy minister, whoever. So if Halkbank is guilty of violating Iran sanctions, not only once, but over a 3-year period, that's Reza Zarrab's testimony, to the extent of Reza Zarrab smuggling $13 billion worth of gold to Iran, one would presume the higher-ups, that is, the board of trustees, which would include government members, would know about this deal. Did they approve of it? Did they get kickbacks? Could other politicians would be involved? What I'm saying is, I hope this case goes away. If it doesn't, it could cast a chill on the entire Turkish banking system. It could end in Halkbank or other Turkish banks being banned from the United States. I think the United States judge or OFAC or the Treasury could ban American banks, citizens, or institutions from buying the assets and securities of some Turkish banks. And finally, some of the active or retired Turkish politicians may be dragged into this case. They are in Turkey. American jurisdiction can't touch them. But obviously, there would be a huge loss of credibility. No one wants the president, the governor, whoever of his country to be known as someone who is involved in a financial scandal. So keep watching us. We will keep you informed on Halkbank until someone comes and whacks us in the knees. This is Atilla Yeşilada, still with 2 healthy knees, saying goodbye from the Real Turkey channel. If you liked it, watch the rest of Real Turkey channel right here. Bye bye now.